Good evening, everybody. Thank you all for coming in person, and thank you all for joining us online. My name is Rob George. I'm your current board president, and I'll give you a little bit of an overview of this evening, then I'm going to open us in prayer, and we will get started. So, like I said, I'm Rob George. I'm a board president right now. We have 3 kids in the school, and they are in 9th grade and in 7th grade, and our youngest is in the Imago Dei program. So this evening we're going to try to do in about 30 minutes. I'll give a little bit of these introductory remarks, and then I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Lockyer, and he will roll through some slides and some topics with y'all, and then I will come in and have a few things to visit with y'all about, and then Mr. Lockyer will come in and wrap up for the evening. So he and I will be here afterwards for questions, so if y'all have questions online, please feel free to visit with Mr. Lockyer with your questions. If you're here in person, you can certainly come and visit with me or with Mr. Lockyer. So let's go ahead and open with a word of prayer. Lord, thank you so much for your time this evening. Thank you for the opportunity to be here and be part of your school. We ask, Lord, that this time will be fruitful, that you will give us wisdom and guidance, and that you will give the school new families, current families, encourage everybody to become a part of what you are doing here at Annapolis. Thank you for our faculty. Thank you for the administration. Thank you for the students and the families that you bring to the school. May we be ever mindful that you are on the throne above. Thank you for this week as we celebrate Holy Week, as we get ready for our Easter celebrations on Sunday. Lord, thank you for the sacrifices that you made so that we can spend eternity with you. In your name, amen. And with that, Mr. Lockyer.
We're packing them in today. Speaking of Holy Week, today was the day that, if you follow that, this is where Jesus goes in the temple and clears the temple. It's kind of an interesting story, but in the midst of this was something that was brought up to me by a friend of mine that I hadn't really seen in the passage, and particularly when we think about education. This is from Matthew, and he has a confrontation with the religious elite, but it's kind of interesting what really sets them off. Of all the things that he's done that day, which has included whipping people and overthrowing tables, the thing that sets them off was children crying Hosanna. That's what incites them. And as we've been talking about education, or we will be talking about education today, there is something that we kind of lose sometimes in the ebb and flow of going to school and picking up kids and packing lunches, and it just, there's kind of a normalization of education. But true education actually does something really, it's divisive. It can change the world. We have people that have changed the world through their learning. It can also divide the world. And what we are trying to do here at Annapolis is to raise up this generation of warriors. And warriors go fight battles, right? One of the things I've heard, I think maybe Douglas Wilson talks about, that there's dragons out there so we can fight them. We're not raising up a next generation of just kind of safe, supple little, kids. We want them to go and engage and to take on this next generation. And when children do that, it ruffles feathers. People get kind of riled up about it, including, in this case, the religious elite, the scribes, and it really kind of turns the corner for them as far as their view of Christ, and it accelerates their desire to crucify him. So we are here to do something that is, when we raise up this next generation, it is when we do it well, when we really follow the Lord's will. We don't know what we're doing. We're setting the world on fire with these kids, and that's really our goal. This year has been about the faithfulness of God. Our greatest thy faithfulness has been the hymn of the year for us. It comes from Lamentations 3. God has been so faithful to the school. Talking to the founders as they came for gala, just talking about the early days, and just the toil and the prayer, and just not knowing from year in and year out what was going to happen, would there be enough money, and just all of that God's faithfulness through those tough years to now where we have a beautiful campus. We'll be celebrating Easter here in this wonderful chapel. And you can just see God's faithfulness is new every morning, new every season, new every year, and that we can rely on him. And so we get a chance to today recount and kind of recap God's faithfulness to us this year and looking ahead to his faithfulness going forward. So we're classical school. We like trees, and Mr. Rangel has been talking about trees through chapel this year. And as we think about education kind of lends itself to a tree. The thing that you see most often is a student transformation. We see the kids, the growing, the fruits, all of that, but we don't see sometimes the root behind it. And there's really three key things for us as a school that make our tree grow strong and eventually will, hopefully, Lord willing, bear fruit in time. The first is the enrollments. The families that are here, who they are, their makeup, the dynamics, that true enrollment, that is really critical. The second part is the financial piece. Obviously, we need money to make the school go. And then the facilities, the aesthetics, where the environments, all those things are really important for us. And so we'll be talking about all three of these key things with the ultimate goal of our goal is to transform students and transform their lives. And our mission statement is the thing that is our North Star. That's what we point our compass towards, that we are committed to these things. We're committed to a community that's committed to the classical and Christian ideals, wisdom and virtue, integration of faith and learning with all of life. That is our mission. But with that also, we have even a more specific focus of when students graduate from Annapolis, what do they look like? And this is a portrait of a graduate. We want kids who are wise and virtuous, who know God, who enjoy him forever, and then from that posture go and serve their neighbor well. That's what we look for. But in order to do that, like I mentioned, one of the things that has to be there, the root system that has to be in place, is our partnership with parents. We're a covenantal school, which means that we want to be in covenant with parents, and we use the term partnering with parents. And I wanted to flesh that out just with a little bit more time today, just tease it out a little bit. It's obviously a pretty big concept, but I wanted to kind of define it a little bit better as far as when we say that, what do we mean? Well, when we talk about covenantal, is that we have some unifying pieces to us. The statement of faith is the thing that is kind of our centering piece that unifies us. But there's also some things that we expect or principles that are in play for us in order for this covenantal partnership to be in place. The first one is that we share the same goals. We have the same goals for as a school and you as parents. Well, what are these goals? Well, I just shared them. The goal is this mission of this school, that we believe education does something formational and transformational to students when it's done towards wisdom, towards virtue, through the Word of God. But also that when that student crosses the stage, the graduate, what they look like, what their goals are, also needs to align with our portrait of a graduate. So yes, we want them to be ready for college, and yes, we want them to have a good job and all of that. But those are secondary goals to what we want them to be. We want them to be wise, virtuous. We want them to glorify God and enjoy him forever. So those goals need to be the same for home and at school. The second thing is our communication needs to be healthy. Biblical communication is essential for communities to be thriving. The Bible is, particularly Proverbs, talks about the tongue and how it can be used for good or bad. And the same thing is true in this Christian community here at school. So the healthy communication needs to be there, both from the school standpoint and from the parent standpoint, is that we're mindful of our talk, we're mindful of what we say, what we do. All of those things are really critical for us to maintain a healthy Christian community. So we take our words seriously, and they're gospel-centered in our relationship building. The third is our engagement. We don't want families just to be involved. We love that you volunteer. We love all of that, but we want you to be engaged in what we're doing, that you are more than just, like I said, that you are actually maybe like reading the same books that we're reading. We just had a book club this morning, that you are understanding what it means to be classical and what it means to be Christian and a worldview. Like, we want you to be engaged in the educational piece as well. We don't want you to drop your kid off because you think it's a safe, secure private school. We want you actually to be involved in what we're trying to do and be engaged in that. And also that means engage with families too. We want you to be in fellowship with other families here. And there's a number of people that come to Annapolis because maybe they're new to town and they want to meet like-minded people, and we love that. And we want you to share life with each other. And that's a really critical part of this school that we feel like that we can offer. But as parents, we want you to take advantage of that. We don't want you just to, like I said, drop your kid off and then just walk off campus. Like, spend time with each other, share life with each other. When we do that, that root system really deepens and really strengthens what we're trying to do. So let's talk about the year so far. And God has been so incredibly faithful and good to us. We're just so thankful. This is just a very short list of all the great things that have happened. The one that I do want to highlight is our teacher retention rate. That's been a point of emphasis for us as a leadership team, to have a high 97% teacher retention rate. We want a faculty of friends. We want faculties that love to be here and love to work here and are committed to that. As a leadership team, we've been trying to pour into them, make them feel loved and appreciated. It's amazing what some coffee and donuts and snacks will go, but more than that, just words of appreciation, affirmation, and just we want them to feel loved and appreciated. But again, colleagues working together as friends, all those things. So that's been a point of emphasis. We're very pleased about that. And God continues as we get into the enrollment season. We have classes that are filling up. This is, again, we're very thankful for this. There's room for more, but we really, I know some families have maybe started the process of re-enrolling, but for whatever reason, life happens, and they haven't quite finished the full submission. Just know that families are coming. Classes are filling up, and it's important for everyone to re-enroll as soon as possible to make sure that we have all those spots filled with you and with your family. And the rest of the time, we'll talk about our outline. This is our strategic plan. It follows this outline. This comes from ACCS's accreditation handbook. These are the main headings of those accreditation handbooks. We followed our strategic plan, follows that. And just want to talk a little bit about each of those points. The first is facilities and finances. We have an amazing partnership with the Edgar Shell Foundation. They have been just absolutely fantastic. They poured millions of dollars into this facility. This chapel is right now obnoxiously cold because we have all 4 of our air conditioner units working. Instead, before we were just down to 1 just a few years ago. So they have come in and just been incredibly generous. We have new air handlers in the Kinner building, this admin building, new boilers in the Kinner, the chapel, and the admin building. It's just been an amazing thing. And then we're finishing the full upgrade of our fire system and integrating the entire campus into a full system, which again, and then putting everything into the central hub of the Carter building, so it all works together, which is something we've been trying to do for a couple of years, and now we're finally able to. We're almost there. And then this summer, the second floor of this building, they'll finish the air handler. They had to actually cut through wall, and there was a lot of a big project that they started last summer. They'll finish this summer, and so that big project of getting all these things upgraded will be completed by the summer of this year, which is absolutely amazing. That's something that we couldn't do on our own, and we're just so very thankful for that partnership. We also are concerned about safety and always want to make sure that we're vigilant in that. The fence has been completed now. All 3 sides of the campus are fenced in. We have a full-time security guard now, again, for the second year. The doors in the second floor of Kinner have been upgraded. Before they were wood, kind of louvered doors. They're now solid metal doors. All the doors in the Carter building have locks. When they first were put in there, they didn't have locks. We've upgraded to the lock system. And then we brought on a security consultant who walked the campus. He was here for 2 days. He is updating our emergency operations manual. And then based on that manual, we'll be able to train our staff and even maybe down the road, even our students, just to make sure that we are doing our due diligence when it comes to safety. It's more than just violence, but also just, there's just a lot of things that can go wrong, hurricanes and floods and all that, and just being just as prepared as we possibly can be as a school. And it just takes some foresight and expertise that we're thankful to have. As we look to our budget, I know it's a lot of numbers up there, but the big number is we're a $3.2 million budget. This is the largest budget the school's ever had. We're very thankful for that. It allows us to do so many things that before we were just on a shoestring budget, we weren't able to do. We have more electives, we have more extracurricular activities. We've added, things like mock trial. All these things are because the fact that God has continued to bless us. It's obviously related to our enrollment. Our goal is to have our tuition fund about 80% of our budget. We're not quite there yet. We're at about 74, almost 75%. So that's one of the strategic plans for us as a school is to continue to grow that. Our fundraising, we want it to be about 20%. Right now it's about 16 to 17%. So as we've been moving the needle in the right direction, we're still not there as we continue to get healthier and stronger financially. Financial aid is always something that we want to be generous with, but there's always some tension there. So just trying to be wise with our money, good stewards with what God's given us, the campus and all of the resources that we have. Obviously, expenses are a part of it too. About $2.9 million worth of expenses, with the largest percentage being in salaries. We have worked very hard to be generous with our teachers, added benefits, both retirement and now starting next year, staff. Full-time teachers with students at school will get half tuition off. We really feel like we want those families here. We know that it's quite a commitment to come here and then pay tuition on top of that. We want to be generous with them. So increasing our benefits with our teachers. We want to be adding benefits year after year, looking at retirement and better health care benefits, and those kind of things are all part of the strategic plan. We were able to make a big commitment starting next year with our full-time and part-time teachers, with full-time teachers getting 50% off and part-time teachers getting 25% off. This is where I hand it off. Yes. Thank you.
All right, let me note something real quick on the financial slides. These are year-to-date numbers. So for you budget hawks who might have noticed that there is a bit of a difference between the revenue and the expenses, these are year-to-date numbers. The school, by God's grace, lands the plane with a balanced budget at the end of the school year, which is at the end of June. So these numbers will match up and line up by the end of this school year. So looking at governance and administration, the board has 6 current members, 2 of whom are here tonight, Nathan and Tony. And then we also have Amy, Lane, myself, and Natalie O'Rourke. Right now, Amy is our finance chair, and Lane has been serving for about 9 years almost as the finance chair for the school. And then Natalie is the only one of us that doesn't currently have an executive position on the board, although I anticipate that she'll have that in future years. So we are committed, these are the characteristics of the Annapolis board. We're committed to classical Christian education. We support the school's mission and vision. Our job is strategic. Our job is not in the operations of the school, but it is to make sure that the school is here in another 30 years, having already been here for 30 years to date. We are self-perpetuating, which means that we invite the founders set it up to where the board invites new members to join as the needs arise. We each bring a particular skill set to the board. So when the board is looking for new members, we're looking at what skill sets are needed, but also looking at what are the kind of people who are looking into the future for what the school needs going to sustain itself going forward. We also all have kids enrolled in the school, or we are former parents of the school. So I wanted to take a minute to look back on the school year. At the beginning of the year, at our State of the School in the fall, we did a presentation, and I added some reflections well, I guess they weren't reflections, but I had some comments that were forward-looking, and now I want to look back on how we've done over the course of the year. So Travis mentioned this. One of the most exciting things about being involved in Annapolis is the opportunity to watch God's faithfulness to the school every year, year in and year out. And you'll see in my third comment there about our gala and having had the opportunity to visit with some of the founding families. It truly is by God's sovereignty and His grace and His faithfulness to the school that we continue to operate every single year. And that's not to say that it is a scary time of year. That's to say God wants the school to be here, and He makes it happen every year. He brings the right faculty. He brings the right administration. He brings the right families every single year. And the founders that we got to speak with at the gala bore witness to that. And now we who are involved in the school today get to bear the same witness. It is so amazing to watch every year how He puts the right puzzle pieces into this school to ensure that its mission and vision go forward. We did adopt the strategic plan this year. We emphasize our growth. We emphasize appropriate growth. We emphasize also the deepening and strengthening the Annapolis culture, because ultimately that is, from a student perspective in particular, that's really how we deliver on the mission and vision of the school. When the students themselves are discipling each other, are coming alongside each other in encouragement and in comfort and in direction and in leadership, then we see the full student body blossom into the leaders that we anticipate that they will all be when they graduate. We are super excited about the 97% retention rate that Travis mentioned for the faculty, and that works copacetically with our re-enrollment and our enrollment rate. So as you see the teacher retention rate grow, you also see the student retention rate grow. Because, as families, we enjoy seeing the same faculty around. If we have older kids, we love knowing that our younger kids who are coming up are going to get to have some of the same faculty. It builds continuity, and it builds comfort, and it builds confidence. And so when the faculty remain committed to the school and are able to stay, and the school can commit to them in the ways that the school needs to commit to the faculty, we see that also turn into great retention, great re-enrollment, great enrollment numbers for the school. I mentioned the gala. That's one thing that we are excited about seeing. I also made a note. One of the cool things this year for Big Serve was that we had some non-affiliated corporate sponsors for Big Serve, and that was one of the original emphases in doing the Big Serve projects, was getting our students out into the community so that they could touch lives of other nonprofits or other companies who support other things in the community. And this year we had a few corporate sponsors who don't have any children in the school, they're not former members of the school, but they saw what we were doing in the community to a nonprofit or a service organization that they support, and they said, we love what your kids are doing out there. We want to help make that happen for our particular nonprofit. And I think that was that's neat fruit of what the Big Serve is able to do for the school. And then I wanted to touch on briefly some of the questions that we get right now, because it's a legislative session in Austin. We get a lot of questions about what's Annapolis going to do about school vouchers. And so I wanted to present tonight very briefly. The school has a handful of foundational principles. Travis touched on them earlier. These principles are what will guide and engage the school if a voucher program is ever actually enacted by our state legislature. And depending on what moment you catch me, my confidence in their ability to adopt something waxes and wanes. So the main principle, of course, is that God is the ultimate authority for Annapolis. That principle is the bedrock principle of the school. Without the Lord's authority over our school, we don't have a reason to exist. So we won't do anything as a school board, we won't do anything as a school leadership that jeopardizes the Lord's sovereign authority and sole authority over the school. We also believe wholeheartedly, as Travis mentioned earlier, parents are primarily responsible for the education of their children. We are partners in that education. And Travis went through some of the engagement principles that we have with our families. We won't do anything that disrupts our ability as a school to partner with parents fulfilling their responsibility to their children. And then finally, any kind of government program for the school, whether it's a grant, whether it's a voucher program, whether it is a funding for a particular opportunity for the school in some other way, we won't take government money that in some way entangles us with programs that we are not agreeing to and that otherwise jeopardize our principles. So if the voucher program comes out and it gives the government the opportunity to become entangled in the school, then it's not going to be a mission appropriate. It'll be mission inappropriate, and we won't do something like that. So with that, where are vouchers now? Kind of, we don't know. They are in the legislature. The House and the Senate have both passed bills. They are going into reconciliation right now. The school board has a committee on trustees. John Riley is here this evening. He's one of the 2 members of the committee on trustees, so that would be me and John, along with Travis. We are monitoring the voucher programs as they kind of work their way through the legislature. We also have some legislative partners that keep us informed, that are generally aligned with our own principles for what a program like that could look like, but we're watching it. I don't anticipate, frankly, that there will be a voucher program enacted by the legislature, if one is enacted, that would actually go into effect for another couple of years. So even if one were to be enacted in this legislative session, it may not have any impact on our school for a couple years. But we're kind of in a holding pattern. As a board, we haven't made any policy changes. We don't know if any policy changes will be necessary, but we do know, going back to our principles, there won't be any program of any variety from the government that in any way jeopardizes the principles that we've listed here and the other principles that Annapolis was founded on and stands on into the future. So, like I mentioned earlier, happy to answer questions. This is one that we get quite regularly. The short answer is we don't know. We're going to wait and see. The longer answer is come talk to me afterwards and I'll give you a longer answer. Thank you guys for your time and for being here tonight. I'm going to turn it back over to Travis now.
Yeah, vouchers will be a new adventure for us all, but I think, as Rob said, the most important thing for us is that we stay focused on our mission, and that's the thing that's going to drive us forward. The carrots that are dangled out there, we don't want to get entangled in, and that really education ebbs and flows and all the different things that are going to happen. That's been the thing for 30 years. It has kept us going forward in the right direction. The cultivation of student virtue, skipped a slide. Just want to let you know that one of the things that we have really, that I particularly have worked really hard at, is to develop a leadership team. As we've been pretty thin administratively, we've been able to build capacity within departments and department heads. That leadership team then allows kind of more of a robust way of working for the school and working on the school. Some of them aren't here. I'll be talking about their departments, but whether it's athletics or our student support, advancements, operations, having a leadership team allows me particularly to have more people in the room to make decisions and things like that, and that's been something we've been operating for about probably going on a year now. That's really been very helpful, and I know it kind of goes behind the scene, but we meet every Thursday and we have an agenda that we go through, and it's been empowering for the department's head to take those departments that they have and to really start working on them and working for them, and it also allows me to delegate some of that responsibility and to give me more time to do other things. So that's been very, very helpful. One of the things we talked about with the tree is our student virtue. The student piece is so important, and we've talked about the roots. The parent piece needs to be there, the enrollment, the facilities, the aesthetics, all those things. But ultimately, that tree, we want to make sure that tree is healthy. So cultivating student virtue is a huge priority for us. And one of the things, again, is that we view education differently. We see it as formational. And with that, then, is these rites of passage, or these kind of things that happen within the the seasons of school that help bring up students from the grammar stage to logic, from the logic stage to the rhetoric, and from rhetoric to the world. So we have these liturgical elements within school to help build that virtue, because we want to teach to the edges of our campus. Bible class isn't just exclusive to a second period class or chapel on Wednesday. We want these lessons to be fleshed out in all that we do. So whether it's chapel or morning time or Benedictio, whether it's house, small groups, Bible studies, formal, these festival days, and even the Warrior Outdoors, all these things have a specific purpose to build virtue, to build those things. And said some of them have a rites of passage as kids transition from grammar into logic to rhetoric, and all those things are intentional because we want the education to be formational, and we want to be really intentional with what we're doing. One of the things that we do that has been a co-curricular piece that we purposely call athletics and theater co-curricular. It's not extracurricular, because when we talk about formation of virtue, what better way to form it than to throw them out on a volleyball court or a football field? I mean, you're going to see in full display if that virtue's there or not. And so for us, we view our athletic program as a really important part of what we're doing when it comes to the big goals of virtue formation. Mrs. Dempsey isn't here, obviously, tonight, so she wrote me some notes. I think maybe Coach Hayden did too. So this is what they wrote. It said, basketball is a thriving program. The past season we had 11 basketball teams from grammar through rhetoric. Volleyball is doing great. Currently looking for an additional coach to add on because there's so many teams from grammar, junior high to varsity. And then they were a three-peat state champion this year. Had high retention of coaches retained from the year in and year out, so it's been helpful in building our programs, having the same coaches year in and year out. So that's been really, really helpful. The athletic program tries to be self-sustaining, so in order to do that, they've got fundraising. So they have parent nights, parent night outs. But then also as they transition to summer, then the summer training starts up. And one of the big things that happened with us in our athletic program, we had 2 state champions, both football and volleyball were state champions. And then the big news was us joining TAPS, which is our new conference. It is a much bigger conference, more robust, and we are excited. It's been something that's been in the works for many years. Not only does it give us just levels of competition that we're really excited about, it does provide some additional benefits beyond just athletics. There's one-act competition, there's academic competitions, whether it's Lincoln Douglas debate, speech, there's art, math science, art history competitions, band and choir. They have solo, ensemble, and full band, full choir competitions. And then there's also some opportunities for adding some sports, more of the individual or dual sports, cross country, golf, tennis, and even sand volleyball, giving kids more opportunities in that arena as well. Our school community, this is something that, again, that I mentioned as from when it comes from partnering as a parent. We don't want you to just be involved, we want you to be engaged. And part of that is what we offer on campus and with the affiliate kind of things that we do on campus. We want to draw parents and to help them get plugged into what we're doing, whether it's Warrior Week in the fall with homecoming, we have book clubs, we have Coffee with the Head, Warrior Men Lunch that happens on a monthly basis, our Warrior Outdoors, which is for those that are interested in things outdoorsy. We have archery tournaments. There was a big canoe trip that just happened over the weekend, hunting, fishing. And then we also know that parenting's hard, and so we have a Wit and Wisdom that's coming up here in the spring, and we'll be doing a fall and spring, bringing a speaker with some expertise and just a chance to spend some time together in fellowship and get some wisdom on parenting. And then upcoming here at the end of the year is our Warrior Festival. That's a chance for families to come and to just spend time together. It's a fun activity for the grammar kids, for the house. It's kind of their last big house competition. They have a lot of fun with it, but it's meant to be a community engagement. And we really hope that you can set aside some time to be on campus and to be a part of all of that, because we really want you to have some life-on-life experience with the other families that are here. Obviously, school academics is a really critical piece. And one of the things that we just recently got back was our SAT scores, and we're really, really pleased with the results this year. This is our juniors that took it. This has been something that we obviously track every year, and we typically have always outperformed both the state and local, or the state and the national scores. This year has been tremendous. The scores are, there's quite a gap between the state of Texas, the U.S. scores, and our students here at Annapolis. And just goes to show the work that's being done in the classroom, the work that's being done with the students, and just really pleased. There's two sections to the SAT, the reading and writing. Reading and writing has always been our strength, and again, plays out really, really well in that regard. And then our math scores, as we've been looking at those, and we're pleased with how these are, but we know that we want to strengthen our math program. For those of you in the grammar, we know we've rolled out a plan for next year as far as with the Saxon math program, but adding additional layers to it. We need some more reasoning skills, so finding ways to do that on a consistent basis, making sure our math fact fluency is strong, and having those pieces on top of a strong core program, we feel is going to serve us well as we move. Our goal is to keep moving the needle with our students and their scores, making sure they're doing the absolute best they possibly can. And then our student support piece, our Margot Day program. This has been a labor of love for us, and really we feel like this is really kind of the second year it's really kind of been able to kind of take root. We feel like we're been able to kind of put together a program. We've lived it and breathed it a little bit. We kind of know how it works, what works for us, and by doing that, we're able to serve this population of students. The whole reason for this is we want our families to be here on campus together. And that was really the big motivation. We had a number of families that would drop kids off here and then drive down the street and then drop their son or daughter off in a public school. And we're like, why can't we do that? Is there something we could do? God brought us Erin Stapper, who has done an amazing job of really putting this program together. So I asked her to write a little summary, and this is what she wrote. So the Imago Day program at Annapolis Christian Academy continues to flourish as we celebrate a milestone year where 6 students currently enrolled, the highest number in the program's history. Unfortunately, this also means we're at max capacity for our classroom. We're praying and seeking God's wisdom on how to expand the program to allow for more students with disabilities to have the opportunity to attend ACA, as we have several students on a waiting list for the Imago Day classroom. This year, we successfully hosted our 2nd annual Warrior Waltz, a cherished event evening where students and their parents shared in dance lessons, fellowship, and quality time as a family. The event served as our primary fundraiser, and through the incredible generosity of our community, we raised over $10,000 to support the ongoing needs of the program. We're also deeply grateful to a generous donor who provided funds specifically for the purchase of adaptive music instruments, further enriching our students' educational experience through the arts. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to that very kind donor. The Imago Day program remains an integral part of our campus culture, embodying our mission to provide a classical, Christ-centered education that's both excellent and accessible to all. And it has been just an amazing program that the school has benefited tremendously on. We've also been able to expand our student support with supporting students in our typical classrooms. Erin's been helping us do that, and that's going to be an area that we want to continue to grow. How can we support students that come, they're in the classroom, maybe they get diagnosed with dyslexia or dysgraphia or some other things that make learning challenging for them, can we support them? And that's going to be an area as a school we're going to continue to pursue, because we feel like there are things that we can do better as a school, or things we can do as a school to help support those students that are maybe needing a little extra help. Our faculty and we got pictures. Our Imago Dei program, you can see the integration that they get integrated in as many activities as possibly can, including morning time and chapel. The adaptive music program that Ms. Somajo does. Our faculty and instructional resources. Really looking ahead for points of emphasis for us as a school. As I mentioned, we spent a lot of time working on teacher retention, and that part of it, student culture, was a main point of emphasis. And now kind of the next thing is for our professional development of our teachers. As we have teachers on campus that are, again, a faculty of friends, we want them to grow in their ability to deliver on the classical Christian curriculum and deliver on that mission. That's going to require professional development and work particularly within the curriculum itself, making sure that that curriculum is guaranteed and viable. So this summer we were able to get a grant that we will be able to pay our teachers to come in for 3 days and to work on curriculum and work together on that curriculum. That's as a teacher, you just don't really have that time and space during the school year to just sit and talk and to put things together. We wanted to give them that time, and obviously the incentive of pay is helpful too. But that's really going to help solidify some areas as far as the curriculum standpoint, and also it allows teachers to learn from each other and keep raising that bar for our teachers. In advancement and development, we're happy to have Carrie on board. She's done an amazing job. I want to thank our school sponsors. Their generosity allows us to do a lot of kind of extra things. Those of you that follow sports, the Warrior Sports Network, but way more than that, they support our academic programs as well. They are a huge sponsor of our arts program, our theater program, that they allow us to do some really above and beyond things that we just couldn't necessarily afford if it was just relying on our operating budget. And most of the money goes to our Warrior Fund, and our Warrior Fund is a robust fund. It allows us to do, there's really 5 priorities, but it allows us to do things, again, kind of above and beyond with our normal operating budget. We're very tight with our budget, and these additional dollars helps us to do these things that kind of that also help us make this school better, with the big one being to bridge the gap between what the actual cost of a student and the education and what we charge. There's a gap between those things, and this money helps fill that gap for us as a school. As always, there is room to grow as a school, so we love that when word of mouth goes and you tell friends, family members to come, that's the best advertising and marketing for us. We do incentivize that a little bit too. But we love to have people that know people that are coming here and checking out the school because they've talked to someone and they've talked about how great this is. So what's next? I really put it as kind of 3 priorities, and this will be kind of a summary of what I talked about. I just came up with some clever alliteration with the letter C. The first one is just the covenantal partnership. We need families, first of all, that there are families that have started the enrollment process and we need them to finish it. Like, it's just, again, life happens, I get it. We even have some teachers that have maybe not gotten to that point. But we need everyone to get that, because really, in order for us to solidify the budget and to be able to make those decisions that need to be made, we need to have hard and fast numbers, and so that's a really critical piece. So complete the enrollment. If you haven't started the re-enrollment process, do it, complete it, get it done. It's really just an important piece. Second thing, like I mentioned, recruit committed Christian families. There's room for more families. We know there's families that want to be here or are interested in here. We want them to come on campus, take a tour, see that if it's the right fit for them. And then I mentioned the partnership principles before, as far as like what it means to be partnering with us as a school. We need to live those things out. In the ebb and flow of education, it's important for us to always stay centered on the things that are critical for us to live in a healthy, vibrant Christian community. And then our school sponsors. Those of you that were school sponsors to recommit to doing that. Those that aren't and want to be, is talk to Carrie Stice and get on board with that. We want to make our school sponsorship a really big part of what we do. We believe it's a wonderful, mutually beneficial relationship. We get to put your word out there, and you get to get your logo in front of literally hundreds of people that watch our games or come to our theater shows. That you get that, and then you get to partner with us and benefit the school. The second is the classical scholarship. We want our teachers to continue to grow and get better. We want to deliver on our curriculum better and better. What we're doing requires work, and we are going to be committed to doing that work to improve on those things, to make sure that our scholarship is pursuing excellence. This is also our accreditation year when coming up, so ACCS, or Association of Classical and Christian Schools, will be on campus. That is helpful for us too, to make sure all of our ducks in a row, but in making sure that we're meeting all of the accreditation standards as well. And the last thing is the Christian discipleship. I've been talking about in terms of culture, but really it's about discipleship. Our students being discipled by our teachers, our students discipling each other, the older kids discipling the younger kids through our house program and mentoring programs. Like, all of that stuff is an important part for our culture to grow and thrive, and again, that tree to be as healthy as it possibly can be. Students buying into what we're doing, students buying into we're here to grow in the Lord, and the more and more they do that, the more robust and the more beautiful that tree is. End with the mission statement again, that we exist to glorify God, and we do it in a specific way. We are the only K through 12 classical Christian school in the Coastal Bend. That puts us in a very unique category. We do things that are very distinctive. And I was talking with someone, and we have this large middle school being built over here, and they're changing the entrance. And they said, you're going to drive down Staples, you're going to have a choice. You're going to either turn right or you're going to turn left. And you can turn into the school and get, you don't have to pay tuition, and maybe it's more convenient, and maybe they have more of this or more of that. They said, what are you going to get in return for that? Or you can turn into Annapolis, and you can have a education that is going to be centered on the Lord, that is going to be in a loving Christian environment, that your kids are going to be nourished, they're going to be taught how to seek and love the Lord. He said there's really no price tag for that. But the choice will be something that will be very obvious next year, which direction you're going, which path you're going to be taking. And we love that you as a family are committed to being a part of what we're doing as a school, knowing the sacrifice and commitment that it takes, but knowing that you are sowing seeds for eternal good, and that we want to hear our kids praising the Lord, singing Hosanna, but also we know that we're arming them for the fight. We want warriors that are going to go out and engage the culture, that are going to be great wives and husbands, leaders in their community, and we feel like that a classical Christian education is the best way to equip them to do all that. So again, thank you for your time. Thank you for those of you that spent the time watching us, and for the chosen few that came here. Thank you for your time, for your evening. And again, if you have questions, feel free to reach out to myself or Rob. No, you can feel free to come talk to me. I'd love to talk to you more if things came up that you have some questions on. And again, thank you, and have a blessed evening.